Antarctica. It is one of the most unexplored and most mysterious place essentially on the planet, right? Everybody wants to know what it is. Some people think it's a wall, but there are absolutely, positively hundreds of things that we have found over the last couple of years just using Google Earth Pro that scientists have yet to explain. Why is that? Who knows? But let's get into what I think are the top 10 strangest, unexplainable, still unexplained things in Antarctica. Honestly, I have a bunch, but maybe I'll do like one side, like a west and a east. But let's get into it. These are the most unexplainable items found in Antarctica. Heard about the legends of giants and these people that may or may not have roamed around the world. Well, I think this image may just make that decision pretty conclusive for you. Let's check it out. Okay, so this is absolutely amazing. And the radius of it is 25 foot. And there's two of them, actually. Let me kind of preface. Look at this. You can see like every feature. But I want to preface, I know everybody's seen those viral top 10 videos and it shows you clear, crisp pictures of things. Well, that's not where we're going to find truth. I can promise you that. The truth is going to be found in digging things like this. This is the stuff they don't want you to see. But you're going to see some amazing stuff. I mean, look at this. It's a giant skull. And this one, too, is about 25 foot circumference. I think I said radius earlier. I meant circumference. What about pyramids? I'm sure everybody that has watched a top 10 Antarctica video has seen, of course, the pyramid. What about 10 pyramids? Somewhere around that. Yeah, I think I have like 10. Yeah, don't believe me? Let's check it out. Alright, let's take a look at some of these pyramids. And, I mean, this one's pretty perfect. But, you know, I think people, you know, like, I guess we would call them normie people, think that there's just going to be, like, pictures of, like, perfect HD pictures coming out of there to prove it to us. That's probably never going to happen. I mean, until the ice melts. But they know this stuff is down here. They say, oh, this is a mountain. It's a perfect mountain. I mean, that one was 8-sided, just like the Golden Pyramid, the Great Pyramid, whatever, in Cairo, you know, in Egypt. So that's kind of hard to say that the wind and ice and snow did that. It's one thing to say that a pointed edge is, you know, maybe that did that, but an 8-sided pyramid, for those that don't know what an 8-sided pyramid is, it's not like, it doesn't have technical 8 sides. It has 4 sides, but it's indented on each 4 sides to make it 8. And this one was, it seems to be, I don't know, maybe just the bottom of it. That one's kind of confusing me, but that's what it is, no doubt. And some of these are actually, you know, even putting off heat and melting the ice, which many people have already claimed that that's what the pyramids were for. They created energy somehow. And this one is amazing to me. And it was from, that picture's from 2012. They don't give you an updated one, I don't believe, if my memory serves me correctly. I recorded this and now I'm doing the voiceover. But I wonder what it looks like right now with the melt, you know. And this one I could see them questioning, but not really. I mean, it's so perfect. And then this line right here, that's 100% an underground tunnel, and the heat being generated from underneath it is creating that line. And we have this one, it's three-sided. We have every single type of pyramid down here. And you know, that makes me wonder, did everything start in Antarctica? Like, is that the quote-unquote cradle of civilization? Maybe after, you know, maybe Antarctica and the loss of Atlantis all happened around the same time. But to see, you know, like that one's a step pyramid. Why is there every single type of pyramid? You know, because normally, like, we wouldn't see the step pyramids except in, you know, like Chichen Itza, South America types. And then the more perfect type, the normal ones we think about, we see those in Africa. And then we have the flat top ones, like in China, that they plant trees on top of to make people believe that they're not actually there. This one's awesome too. I mean, this is perfectly, like, you can see this one perfectly. But what if everything came out of Antarctica? And so we had certain civilizations go to Africa. They created the more normal, like what we consider normal, the one that we've always seen. I guess I can say it like that. And then we had people that went to South America, and maybe due to the type of mud and dirt and, you know, the ground around there, it was better to create step pyramids. And I know they do have kind of a step pyramid in Egypt, but it's like this one. This one's a step pyramid. But it's more like a leveled one. I would consider that one in Egypt a leveled one, and not really the stepped one. And we have a stepped one in India, I believe. But this right here, this is creating heat from underneath, and that's what we're seeing right here. And so when you zoom out, look, you just see the point, but it's like they did an extra resolution view to see what was going on. Why was this heat? You know, there must be a lot of melt going on there. And then a lot of these are complexes with the three, just like we see in Egypt. You know, we have the three in a row or whatever. And this one, you know, with the ice, this one being on the coast, I think it's got a lot more weathered. Who has heard of the famous Tic-tac crafts that the Navy has finally said is absolutely an unidentified something? Well, what if I told you that I know of at least 3 of them that have been captured on satellite in Antarctica? Oh yeah. Okay, this one's perfectly exiting or entering some hole right there, and I measured these. I didn't do it on this one. I did do it on a different video, and it's exactly the size that the pilots have claimed. It's around 50 to 70 foot. This one seems frozen, or it's parked on top of the ice. So it's kind of different to see. And then we have this one. This one, you know, it's so out of place. It's just so bright, and then again, and it's also the same exact size. If you want to see my detailed video on the Tic-tac crafts, I did an entire video just on the Tic-tac crafts, so you can check that out. Many of you may have seen the enormous face down there that looks like the face on Mars, but I bet you didn't know there's actually at least 3 faces. Yeah, it's kind of creepy. Okay, so most people have seen the giant face down there. Maybe not. I mean, it was just discovered a few months ago by one of the viewers of Third Phase of Moon. But what other people did not talk about is, in order to build something of that scale, you would need a template. So we go over here within essentially walking distance, and you see a perfect template. Isn't that amazing? I mean, it's absolutely undeniable. Okay, then I want you to take a look at this. I'm sure everybody realizes who this is, or, it's a Cyclops, right? And now we're going to take a look at another face found down there that's like 45 meters tall. This one's a little bit harder to see, so I had to just do a screenshot of it because, you have to get at the perfect angle, and that's why I'm going to give y'all the coordinates so you can see this for yourself. You can see the nose, the mouth, the makings of an ear, and then just one eye, and maybe some type of helmet or crown, maybe his hair, I don't know. And finding all of these things really makes me think that all of these things that they said were myths and legends were actually true, and they just covered it up by calling it a myth and a legend. We thought dinosaurs were extinct? Well, there have been things that have been found in the recent history that we thought were extinct for a few million years. So is it that crazy to think that there may be some dinosaurs down there? Or what we call dinosaurs? Well, from this, it's pretty, just check it out for yourself. If you have been watching my channel for a while, you have already seen this one. Funny thing, right after a couple of us put this out on the internet, the news did an article saying they found the bones of an elasmosaur. I contacted the author of that article and the scientist. They didn't message me back. I was like, we found this one, and it looks like it was essentially still alive, not a skeleton. But anyway. Okay, before we look at this one, I want you to look at this. This is a plesiosaur. I want you to look at the body, look at the flipper, and then I have this one where I just show the body and the flipper. Now look at this. This one seems to be either frozen, and you can't see the head maybe, or I'm not sure, but it's either frozen or swimming. Could it be a whale or something? Well, yeah, it could be. But it hasn't been explained. Okay, of course everybody knows of Loch Ness. And it's funny how they claim that this is a mythical creature when so many people have seen it. Claim to see it, caught it on camera, whatever. But that should show you a lot. That they consider something that people actually see mythical. But this is the one I want you to focus on. And now let's go to Antarctica. And it's just like that, how it's got the humps, like how it's serpent-like, but then with a horse-type head. That makes me think that this one is swimming. I don't know, you'll have to make that decision on your own. How about shadows that make absolutely no sense? What do I mean by that? Well, there's a huge shadow, but there's nothing there to cast the shadow. How is that possible? If I was a betting person, I would say the thing casting the shadow has been scrubbed. See, let me remind y'all, when they first started the Google Earth and all of these, using the satellites for GPS and all this stuff, we didn't have 4K screens or even just like regular screens that we would even be able to see this stuff. It's just like, oh, it's white. Okay, who cares? You might go kind of look around, but most people don't go into this much depth, so they were like, nobody's ever going to really see this. And so it was used for the military and whoever else needed it, mainly for the military, right? So they didn't really bother with it. Even whenever it first did come out, even just until a year or so ago, it was like $400. And so it wasn't like a whole bunch of people were looking at this. And now that we have free access to it, it's right there in our faces. Let's check out some of these unexplained shadows. And there are many. Okay, so a few weeks ago, I did a video showing this amazing book that I found. It's like 300 pages, and it has tons of maps from South America, Antarctica area from the 1500s. And it shows all these giants, and even in the description it says Land of the Giants. But what I want to show right here is how they had castles on these maps from the 1500s. There was no castles in South America in the 1500s that we're aware of. So where were they drawing these from? Well, if you look at these shadows, they sure look like castle-like structures of some sort. I don't know what else it would be. And how come you can only see the shadow, but you don't see any structure casting these shadows? Look at this one. It's like 5,000 foot long. Of course, it's a shadow, so it would be longer. But there's no structures around here. What's casting these shadows? The better question is, what are they scrubbing out? Alright, and then we go to these other weird shadows. Again, there's no structure, and it's just casting these building-like shadows. How is this possible? Then we have these that look like a shadow of some type of tower. But there's no structures. There's tons of them. I mean, all of these shadows casting, they're casting these shadows with no buildings, and they're huge. See, that's how you find things. It might not always be in plain sight. And I'm sure most people have heard the maybe this happened, maybe it didn't, with the Germans going down to Antarctica in the 30s and 40s, maybe making some type of military base. Well, I believe that's 100% factual, and I'm going to show you some subs that apparently got stuck in the ice or just happened to be up at the right time. Let's check those out. Alright, this one is kind of hard to see, but if you look at the middle, it definitely looks like how a sub looks whenever it surfaces through ice. So what this is it old? Is it new? I mean, there was a report of Russians finding old German subs down there. And then we have this one that, it's definitely scrubbed, but you can still see it in the ice. And it's about 405 foot, rough estimate. See, if you look at this one, this is not from Antarctica. This is from the Arctic. But you can see what it looks like when they do surface. And so when you compare that to this one, I know it's blurry, but if you go and look at it, and that's why I'm going to give you all the coordinates so you can check these out. And then check this out. Is this where they're going? This is definitely some transit area going underneath the ice. Like a harbor, because if you go out the other way, it goes into the ocean. I don't know how anybody could say it's anything else, really. But one more thing that was found that could show the Germans were there. If you look at this, it's kind of hard to see, but yeah, that's all I'll say. One of the top things that comes up is an ancient civilization that may or may not have lived there. If you watch my old videos, you will see what I believe, but I'm not going to tell you what I believe in this one. And let's see if we can see some pretty interesting things that, again, have not been able to be explained sufficiently by scientists. They've said a few things about some of them, but not all of them. It's interesting. And here you can see definite proof of what looks like an ancient city, like building footprints, like if the buildings were no longer there, the street, the lines of how, call it ancient Manhattan, because if you look at it from above, it looks very, very similar to how Manhattan looks. And you can see like how if they had roads, I mean, I know this is kind of blurry. That's why I'm going to give you all the coordinates. But I mean, these are amazing finds. And this is really going to change history if people start talking about it and stop thinking that it's just rock, ice, and snow. And then we have, let's go over here, all of this cobblestone. I mean, it's perfectly laid, just like how old, architecture was when they did the cobblestone streets and things like that. And we have it in multiple areas. This is a different area on the other side of the continent. Same thing, same structures. I mean, it's laid out in a perfect pattern as if it was cobblestone, streets or something. And then we have, of course, these dwellings that looks like snow-covered houses. They're perfectly shaped, and you can even see what would look like kind of like doors, as if they still live there and they still use these. I mean, I honestly don't know what else it could be. And yes, scientists are some. Look at this. This is an entrance. They've tried to say that this is natural. It's not. There's no way. Look at this. It's like it's like a whole suburb. Like what you would expect if there was a blizzard in Montana, or, well, I don't know how big Montana is, but in like a place that has a lot of houses. I mean, and they all look like they have these entrances. You see? What about some cave-like entrances that seem to be in places that are not where any of our science research facilities are? Some even have a possible craft coming out of them. Yeah. And guess what? This is so much better. See, you know, there's so many people that have these fake channels and they put up these crazy pictures. I'm going to give you all of the coordinates to all of these things, and you can download Google Earth Pro yourself. And no, they're not sponsoring me. It would be great, but they barely even like me on the YouTube. And you can actually go look at these yourself and find some other crazy stuff. So let's check out those holes in the ice. Very suspicious. Well, this one's pretty hard to say that it's not what it looks like. Definitely is a craft coming out. And of course, some of these are blurry, because we know why. But you can see this steel door type of thing, and with an entry. And this is an obvious hole. And you can see it looks like how maybe if something was to enter or exit, like how it slides in of some sort. I don't know. It's pretty damning. And then we have this enormous tunnel that I've done an entire video of. I mean, this thing goes up to the South Pole. I mean, the North Pole. And if you have looked into Admiral Byrd's testimony and other admirals and things like that from World War II era, they described this technology that they had found that, how did they put it? Something that they would be able to go from pole to pole in a matter of no time. I forget how exactly they put it, but this may be what they were talking about. Maybe it's like, you know, those tubes at a bank, and they just like go through it. I don't know. It's huge. It's very long, and it's huge. And you can check out my other video to show how long it really is. And you can trace it all the way up to the North Pole. What does a dragon, a couple of dragons, mermaid, a giant megalodon maybe, and a lot of bird dinosaurs or something have in common? Well, I don't know. Not much of anything, except for the fact that they are all in one smallish area in Antarctica. I don't know, decide for yourself. Let's check it out. Okay, I don't know if these are some type of art that they have, you know, like glyphs or something, but look at this. It looks like how our space shuttles look. Like exactly. It's pretty mind-blowing. And then we have this one that looks like it, but it looks just like how our shuttle program and our rockets looked. I have no idea how to explain that any other way. And then right next to it, we have this black dragon. And these fire colors around it. Then we have other dragons right in the same area. Are they actual dragons? Are they, I mean, this one looks like a frozen dragon for sure. And it's like, but then there's like fire around it. So is it dead and then they paint it at, what are these fires? I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I mean, this is amazing. And then we have what I'm deeming a statue, but I don't know if it's really a statue. Because there are two of them and they may very well be alive. My top pick would have to be this one. Okay, this is a seated winged giant of sorts. And it's like they are resting their head on their shoulder. You can see the legs as if they have their arms wrapped around their legs and they're in a seated position with these wings. I mean, if you go to this, you'll see how detailed this really is. Is this a statue? Maybe. But even if it's a statue, you'd have to concede that there was a civilization there. No doubt. And, you know, you look at these old maps, and I think that that's where, you know, we're going to find the truth in these old maps. Because these people had no reason to just draw these things on these maps. I don't know, guys. Y'all have a wonderful day. Like, share, and subscribe, and let's share this. You know, we need to get some truth about our history.